Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Next Door Aquatics. Today let's talk about my top 10 tips for betta care. So let's jump right in. So number one on this list of top 10 betta tips is going to be to keep them in an aquarium of 5 gallons or larger. A lot of people do keep bettas in tanks or things that aren't tanks, like bowls and jars smaller than 5 gallons, but I'm going to recommend that you keep it in 5 gallons or greater. Who does not have room for at least a 5-gallon tank? No one. So do yourself and the fish a favor and get a 5-gallon tank or larger. It'll fit almost anywhere, so just get a 5-gallon tank. Number two is going to be to use a filter. A lot of people do not put a filter in a tank with a betta. I'm going to recommend that you grab a sponge filter, you grab some air line, and you get a little small air pump. You turn the flow way down and you just have a few bubbles coming up every second or two. That's going to be enough. The betta does not like a lot of flow. You don't need a power filter, but get a sponge filter. A betta does need clean water, so it's going to create a better environment for your betta, and it's going to create a cleaner, nicer looking tank for you in the long run. And it's also going to mean less work for you, because if you're not using a filter, you're most likely going to be doing very, very, very frequent water changes, most likely more than once a week, preferably more than twice a week, so you don't kill your betta and shorten its lifespan in the least. So get a filter. Sponge filter will do, and it's actually ideal for a betta. So number three is pretty similar. Get your betta a heater. Bettas are tropical fish, so ideally their temperature is going to be in that 75 degree-ish range, 76, 77 on up to 80, somewhere in there, just like most of the other tropical fish. Some do like cooler, but for the most part your betta is going to want a warm environment. They are tropical, so you should get a heater. Most of us don't keep our house at a temperature that's going to be adequate for your betta. And on the plus side, if you keep them with a heater, you're more likely to see them being active and swimming around a lot, because when it's cold they tend to just sit in one spot and not do a lot because they're not very happy. It's too cold for them. So do yourself and the betta a favor, get yourself a small heater for your betta tank. Number four is pretty simple. You should cycle the aquarium. You shouldn't just drop them in and not really do any research or do any preparation. So whether you do a fish in cycle or a fish out cycle, whatever the case might be, get a filter, cycle the aquarium, create a stable, nice environment for your betta, just like you would any other fish. Number five, I'll keep it short, but don't be afraid to try Tankmates. Some bettas will get along fine with other Tankmates, so it's something you can try out and see what works, whether it's small schooling fish like cardinal or neon tetras or some snails. Try it out and see what works, but keep in mind that if you are doing roommates or Tankmates, you should ideally be having a 10-gallon tank or larger. So in my case with this tank behind me, it's almost 5 gallons, 4 and change, close to 5 gallons. So I don't typically have roommates with this particular betta, and this betta does not get along super well with snails. So I would say it's more on the aggressive side, but try it out and see what works, and you might end up with something that you really enjoy. Number six is to provide lots of cover, preferably with live plants. So as you can see in this tank, I've got lots of live plants. The betta is really going to enjoy that environment with places to lie and rest and hide. So do yourself a favor, do your beta a favor, and try some live plants and some various decorations to make a more enjoyable aquarium for you and for the beta. Number 7 is to keep the lights dim or provide lots of shade. And if you're going to provide lots of shade, you might as well use live plants. So in my case, this light is decently bright, but there is a lot of plants growing up toward the light and in the tank itself, so it provides lots of shade. Betas don't really like strong light, so either get a light that has a setting where you can keep it a little dimmer, or get a lot of plants going and a lot of decorations that provide the beta with some shade and some shelter. Number 8 is a bit of a strange one, but consider getting a lid. In my case, I don't have a lid on this tank, but it's going to depend on your beta. So if you notice that you have a beta that swims around a lot, erratically, and some betas are like that, you might want to consider getting a lid. I had one that was like that, and it did jump out because I didn't have a lid. But like I said, it was a very active beta. So if you see that, consider getting a lid. If you have a beta like this one that moves around pretty slowly, not easily excited, you probably don't have to worry about a lid. This one's been in here for well over a year, probably a year and a half, and I keep the water very close to the top of the rim of the tank. So just be mindful of the fish that you have, and if you need to, I would get a lid so that you don't wind up with a fish on the floor. Number 9 should be self-evident, but don't house multiple betas together, especially multiple male bettas, but also multiple females, in a small tank. So in a small tank, I mean probably 20 gallons or smaller. It might be possible depending on how many betas you're keeping in a 20-gallon, but if you're going to be keeping more than one beta, you're probably going to need a large tank, and it's probably going to need lots of plants, lots of sight breaks, and hard scaping to create lines of sight break and areas where betas can create their own territory and feel comfortable. And in that case, it might be possible to have several betas together in the same tank, even males. But it's something that you're going to want to research, and it's something that you're going to want to get a big enough environment where that will be possible. So it is possible, but it's something you're going to want to do some research and get a big tank. So finally, number 10 is to train your beta. Betas are extremely smart fish, and if you keep multiple species of fish, you might quickly notice that your beta is a little bit smarter than some of your other fish, particularly fish of its size, so smaller fish. Your beta is quite intelligent for a fish, so you can train it to do certain things. And in my case, I tap on the glass of the tank, I tap on the rim, and that's when I feed the beta. And almost all of my betas can be trained to hear that tap and come right up to you, and you can drop your food right in front of their face. And it works without fail most every time, and across multiple betas that I've had. So in the end, have fun with your beta. They are really cool fish. I think they're mistreated by people who don't know any better, probably most of the time. But they're beautiful fish, and sometimes they're really expensive. So why would you shortchange your beta and not give them a heater, not give them a filter, and not give them an adequate environment in which to live, when you would do the same thing, when you would give those things to other fish that cost half as much or even a quarter as much as a beta costs? So do yourself and your beta a favor, and give them a really nice environment to live in, and it'll reward you and your hobby in the end, and give the beta a better life. So thank you all for watching. Thanks for listening to my spiel on the top 10 tips, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.